George Lyon, Liberal Democrat MEP for Scotland. How does the situation differ for mountain rescue teams compared to other emergency services?
Well, the Mountain Rescue Service in Scotland has to pay VAT on all the items it buys to help with its services, whether it's Land Rovers, stretchers, rucksacks, you name it. It has to pay VAT on them. Now, if you take the lifeboat service, they are exempt from VAT, so they've got a tremendous financial advantage. And let's not forget, both these services are funded by the public making contributions. There's no public money goes into them at all. So therefore, what we are arguing or hoping to argue for is a change in the rules that ensure that both the Mountain Rescue Service are treated on the same basis as the lifeboat service are.
And from your conversations with the Mountain Rescue Service, what kind of difference, financial difference, would it make to them, given that VAT is 20% presumably taken away from their income?
That's correct. But for the Mountain Rescue Service in Scotland, it's estimated it's £175,000 a year. And of course, that's publicly raised money from people making donations in the street that has then in turn to be handed over to the UK Treasury. Now, I know our Treasury Minister, Danny Alexander, is very keen to try and make progress in this and help the Mountain Rescue Service, but it needs permission from the EU because it is regulated at an EU level. So today's meeting was to try and persuade the Commissioner, who's having a consultation on how VAT affects public services across the whole of Europe. We're trying to persuade him that there's an anomaly here that needs corrected and that he needs to take action.
You met with him this morning. What kind of reaction did you get? I imagine a lot of people go to him as tax commissioner and say, we'd like not to pay any tax, please.
Well, clearly that's correct. We think we've got quite a unique argument here. These are publicly funded services. It's not the taxpayer that funds them, yet they deliver a public good, i.e. they rescue people who are in trouble, and yet both services are treated completely differently from a VAT perspective. It's clear the UK government wants to try and end that anomaly, but we clearly need permission in the rules to be able to do that. They're reviewing the rules. We got a constructive hearing from the Commissioner today. He understands the arguments quite clearly, and I think the cost is so little that you cannot say no to it, and I hope that's the attitude he takes when it comes to putting forward legislation to change things.
Now, I understand you also handed over a petition of some 2,000 signatures. Does that public support help in making an argument out here in Strasbourg?
I think it does, yes. It shows that there is strong public opinion behind the campaign that Chris and I are running. And I think it demonstrates clearly just how valued these services are and how people would like to see them treated equally, because if it wasn't for the lifeboat service and the mountain rescue team, many people would end up losing their lives each year. And if it wasn't for volunteers putting money up in donations for it, then the general taxpayer would have to fund them. So it's a very good and worthwhile cause. The people who are operating these services, I think, are totally frustrated that they are treated differently from other services, and therefore we are trying to make sure that we move to a system where the anomaly is removed and that every publicly funded rescue service operates on the same basis.
So to sum up, how do you rate your chances of getting a change?
Well, I think we've got an opportunity because the review is open. The Commissioner's mind is open. We just need to make sure we've got a good campaign that delivers home a very powerful message that says both our lifeboat services and our mountain rescue services should be treated equally. That's all we're asking for.